Hi, my name is Anthony, and today on Playtest, we're going to be going over the strategy guide for the Phoenix. Just like our past videos, we're going to be going over the hunt phase, notable things to keep a lookout for the Phoenix, and just kind of bits and bobs and recommendations for gear. So the Phoenix is a Node 3 quarry. What this means is that it's going to be the third monster that you fight in Kingdom Death Monster. With that, the third monster is the last monster, so this is a pretty challenging foe, especially at level 2s and 3. To start off, let's go with our hunts. To start off before you go on a hunt, here's two things to kind of keep an eye out. The Phoenix deals a lot with age progression, age regression, and brain trauma. For this, it's highly advised to get somebody who you are willing to sacrifice because instant deaths are very possible with this, and have somebody with enough insanity to be able to withstand a lot of the attacks and reactions from the Phoenix. Typically, if you've reached the Phoenix, then you should have some ways to increase your insanity or leave with some insanity. You should still have some pretty brand new survivors that hopefully weren't killed during the previous bosses. To start off on our board, this is what a level 3 Showdown will look like. I've chosen this just to kind of showcase some of my favorable and memorable hunts. The first one being Bird Brain. Now this hunt event is going to kind of show you what you're going to be in store during the actual showdown. The Phoenix is very nimble, not as skittish as the Antelope, but very mobile indeed. It can materialize anywhere, it can fly across anything, it's kind of crazy. So this kind of shows you that it can move both forward and backwards on the hunt event board. The second hunt event I want to mention is Unmake. Unmake I just kind of really like. Each survivor nominates one gear in their gear grid and rolls a 1d10. On a 1 through 5 it is unmade, on a 6+ it is remade. This is kind of neat because, already you're stepping into time manipulation, which is what the Phoenix is doing, but also gives you a chance to just get more resources on old stuff that you don't want. Next hunt event I want to bring up is Fateful Feather. Now this event is pretty cool because somebody is going to return to damn near a child. On a roll of 1d10, the person that rolled the lowest is going to regress pretty much their entire life. They're going to go back to Hunt XP 0, lose all their weapon proficiencies. However, this is going to introduce a piece of gear that I will mention further on. If you have the Horus Ring, you can spend 2 survival and ignore this event. Horus Ring, I'll talk about in just a sec. Now for the last hunt event I want to showcase is actually my favorite hunt event, just strictly because of, the flavor of it, but it's Time Flows Backwards. All survivors lose 1 level of Hunt XP for each level of their quarry. If a survivor has no Hunt XP, they disappear, dead, nobody remembers they exist. This is so cool, and flavor-wise, first time I ever played this, I never played with the Phoenix. This was the very first card that we got. 3 of us were playing brand new characters, and we just all died. It was the coolest thing that had happened, and I love this game even more. That being said, in my earlier statement, I said bring somebody that's pretty fresh. Don't bring him too fresh because of this event. Make sure they're at least 1 level higher than the Hunt XP that you're trying to fight. So if you're fighting a level 2 Phoenix, bring a level 3 Survivor. And by level, of course, I just mean age or Hunt XP. On to the Showdown. The Phoenix uses age counters on a lot of its attacks, its defenses, pretty much everything it does is going to give you an age counter. And whenever it does its basic action, it does something called Disdain. Disdain is going to be place the Phoenix at the center of the board, it's going to give everybody brain trauma, and they're going to level up 4 times per age counter. Now, originally this seems pretty cool, especially if you're a lower level survivor. However, if this happens enough time and you go past your maximum XP, you're dead. Unalive, completely forgotten, down to dust, bone type shit. Yeah, you're fucked. So it's very important for this fight that you try to avoid that. Now, even at a level 1, you're going to start with 3 different traits and a survivor status. First one being Spiral Age. Spiral Age is what happens when Disdain happens. It's where you age up until you can't age anymore and you just die. Second trait is Materialize. Materialize is just, it disappears and reappears somewhere. It materializes somewhere, and anybody it comes across or lands on is going to be pushed back and just kind of messed up. And then finally it has Zeal. At the end of each monster's turn, perform basic action. That sucks. That really fucking sucks. Not only is it going to have its AI deck, but it's going to have basic action at the end of every time, and if it doesn't have a target, it's going to perform Disdain, and you're going to keep aging over and over and over. So it's generally recommended. This is a monster that you want to fight really quickly and try not to farm for it if you've found any farming tactics. If you have, and you can do it, perfectly fine. However, it is recommended that you just try to beat the hell out of this guy, because the longer you wait, the more you're going to age and everybody's going to die. Now before we start with level 1, there are a few things I want to talk about. And first up, it's specializations. Notably speaking, the shield specialization and the fist and tooth specialization. The shield specialization is while a shield is in your gear grid, you can no longer get knocked down by collision with a monster, incredibly huge for Materialize, and if a shield is in your gear grid, add 1 to all hit locations. Second, the fist and tooth specialization, you may stand at the start of the monster's turn or the survivor's turn. Now, this is going to be huge because you're going to be using a lot of survival in this fight. a lot of the AI cards have breaks in between. What this means is after it's targeted something, it gives you an opportunity to spend a survival to do something, either dodge, dash, surge, any of that. This is absolutely going to be huge, and like we said, we want this fight to be over quick. So if you can stand up after being knocked down, incredible, and still have the survival to keep for you to be able to dodge out of an attack or dash away into an area of the hit zone, prepare you for the next fight, incredible. Another thing I highly recommend for everybody to have, if possible, is a founding stone. Now we all know that for an action, a founding stone gives a critical wound to a hit location. A lot of its critical hit locations are going to give it debuffs. Specifically, soft lower gut, glorious armpit. Soft lower gut is an absolute monster against this. It's going to completely counteract its age mechanics by using Age Eater. Spend 3 age tokens to gain 1 survival and suffer 1 brain damage. Now if you're insane, perfect, just take a damage away from your insanity. However, the spending 3 age tokens is so huge. 1, because not only are you gonna get a survival, but 2, it won't be able to do disdain and age you to a point where you just disappear. Now, Glorious Armpit also just completely just turns the fight around. You replace the following abilities definitions. Displacement. Attacker is covered in rainbow goo and gains +1 insanity. Materialize. The Phoenix is knocked down. That's crazy. That's going to be one of your biggest advantages in this entire fight. It's going to be a lot more of a guarantee that you actually hit and do damage to this guy, but it's going to completely stop it from being able to materialize on top of people and just give free damage. Now that we have kind of the basics out of the way, here's some of the gear or kind of specializations that I recommend for level 1. First off, in the spirit of fist and tooth specializations, I recommend the Rawhide Armor. Not only is it going to give you a +1 to all hit locations, but it gives you a 50% chance of gaining a survival when you spend a survival. That's absolutely insane, especially for this when you're going to have to be both offensive and defensive pretty aggressively. So any advantage you can get, absolutely take it. I definitely recommend someone, or now all of you, have a Rawhide Armor. Next up in terms of items, the Round Leather Shield. Classic of all shields, going to give you +1 protection, but not only that, it's going to give you the shield specialization ability to just ignore collision and then just give you extra armor, so absolutely recommended to fight the Phoenix. Next up, 2 of my favorite core weapons, the King Spear and the Bone Darts. King Spear, all around, fantastic. It's got reach, 2 attacks, 6+, all that stuff, should be pretty good to go. Bone Darts, fantastic, you can throw them, boom, you're good to go. Anything happens, any type of mood, whatever, I like them just to get some ping damage off of them. Get some of those pesky hit locations kind of out of the way if you can manipulate the deck. And finally for an item, Cat Eye Circlet. Now if you watch my strategy guide on the Antelope, you know these items pretty damn well because I recommend them for damn near everything. But anyways, these are pretty standard items that you should have already. Try to get a shield with the shield specialization, fist and tooth specialization, and the Rawhide Armor. Now in terms of positioning where you want to be on the board is actually not close together. Similarly to the Antelope, you kind of want to be spread apart. As you can see on the board, we're set up in a pretty specific way. With this arrangement, not everybody should be getting hit every single time. There are 3 attacks that I kind of want to showcase, and they're all B attacks, so you will most likely encounter one of these under level 1. Right Wing Strike, Left Wing Strike, Postural Cannons. These are some of the attacks that can hit pretty much everybody in a specific spot. Right Wing Strike, survivors getting hit. Left Wing Strike, survivors getting hit. Postural Cannons, both survivors are getting hit. These are absolutely deadly, even at a B level attack. And then not only that, but it's still going to be doing a basic action at the end of its turn. As for this very specific attack, Board. While Board is in play, the Phoenix has -2 toughness tokens. Perfect. If you're in the Eye of the Storm, you gain +1 survival and +1 insanity, and you don't suffer damage equal to the monster level, knockback 7, and bash. It's one of those situations where it's going to hit you anywhere, so if you all stick together and it's going to target one of you, it's going to attack all of you because it has such area-based attacks that you're going to be kind of fucked. Now, even though this is a level 1, you're still going to get a legendary attack. There's one legendary attack that I think is one of my favorite attacks in the core game, and it's Deja Vu. If the survivor has 25 or more age tokens between them, get a new settlement record sheet, start a new campaign with the first story, the current survivors, any gear and resources they currently have with them. With this one attack, it can restart your game. That's crazy. Sure, you get to keep your resources and all your materials, but that's really crazy. Like, some people might want this attack, but if you're like in Lantern Year 25 and you're fighting a level 3 and you get hit with this and you have a lot of age, it's pretty wild. Now, this is where I highly recommend getting the soft lower gut with the Founding Stone, because this is going to prevent this from happening. It's a really cool attack if you want it, however, don't recommend it. Moving on to monster level 2, it gains a new trait, Top of the food chain. The monster suddenly seems older, -3 to severe injury rolls resulting from the monster's attacks. That's wild. To sum it up, all of your rolls are going to be really bad on severe injury. You're going to be wanting to roll above a 5 on most of your stuff, or else you might actually just completely die. A result of 5 will be a 2, a result of 4 will be a 1, so this one's going to be rough. However, since you're fighting the level 2, you do have access to the plumery. Having access to the plumery gives you really cool weapons. I honestly love these weapons, just aesthetically speaking. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is a new specialization called Bow. When attacking with bow, you may reroll any misses once. This is pretty damn cool. You're going to want to start specializing in different classes to be able to even have a chance against level 2. By classes, I mean a tank, a ranged, a support, any of that stuff, just to give each person a different job. Now for support, we have the cat eye circlet. That's a support item. For damage, we have a king spear. And for range, we have darts, but now I'm going to introduce the bows because I really like the bow for the plumery. However, before that, here's a piece of armor I definitely recommend. Phoenix armor. Classically, since we're fighting the Phoenix, let's start adding Phoenix armor. Add 1 to all hit locations. Spend an action in movement, full movement in straight line. At the end of the movement, activate a melee weapon and attack. Add the number of the spaces you move to your strength for this attack. That's going to almost guarantee a hit, especially if you have a character with a lot higher movement. If you can move 7 spaces, that's going to give you +7. Including in the Phoenix armor, its actual items themselves are really useful for this fight. So somebody should definitely have the Phoenix armor if possible. And then going back to specializations, I recommend the axe. Specializations here, if you haven't guessed already, are really important. For example, the axe. When attacking with an axe, if your wound attempt fails, you may ignore it and attempt to wound the selected hit location again. Having more than one chance to hit this monster as many times as you can in a shortest amount of time as you can is huge. Now, since I introduced these 2 specializations, you can kind of guess what I'm going to put down. First off is going to be the Sonic Tomahawk, and second, the Arc Bow. The Sonic Tomahawk, incredible because it allows you to, on a perfect hit, make an additional attack roll. Again, as many attacks as you can. And the Arc Bow is really cool, but, cumbersome, not great. However, when you look at it, a strength of 9. And if you equip it correctly, it gives you an extra +2 range, letting you fire from 8 spaces away. Now I've got 3 more items. If you have the correct innovations, you should have the Rainbow Katana. Rainbow Katana, 4 attacks, 4 accuracy, 4 strength. Gives you as much opportunity as you can. It's really freaking cool. The worst part of it though is that it's frail, which is why you get the Blood Sheath. Really cool design in my opinion. Not only does it let you block, but it removes frail and adds sharp to the katana. Wild. So cool. Absolutely cool. DPS person, go for it. It's a really fun item. And then lastly, I kind of hinted at it or kind of talked about it during our hunt events. It is the Horus Ring. Now the Horus Ring, especially at level 2 and 3, is kind of important. During the Aftermath, if you died or ceased to exist, you may archive the Horus Ring and reset the campaign to the previous settlements phase developed step before you depart. It essentially lets you reset time. It's really cool. It's neat. Now, understandably, this is going to be a lot of resources that I just put on you to drop. You have 5 items that are recommended, not including an armor set for the Phoenix. So definitely prioritize, and this is absolutely going to depend on what resources you get when you defeat this. So if you're closer to getting a katana, go for it. Closer to getting a tomahawk, go for it. Closer to getting the Phoenix armor, go for it. However, if you have the materials to not get the Phoenix armor, but you can get rawhide armor, get that. It's great, it's fantastic. Keep your survival, love it. Now the level 3 is nuts. Not only is it going to get Indomitable, it's going to give you +2 luck tokens. That sucks. That really, really sucks. Its toughness is going to be 17, its speed is +2, and its damage is +3. A lot of this monster's attacks do go for the head as well, so it's going to be a lot of brain injuries and head injuries. Insanity, insanity, insanity. And try as hard as you can to get the Founding Stone and any of those 2 hit locations. Have a support character hold Founding Stones and use the cat eye circlet. Just keep getting into situations where you control the monster. There are weapons just like in our Antelope video and other items that let you manipulate both the AI deck and the hit location deck. Absolutely fantastic, absolutely huge. However, if you have to choose one over the other, I would say try to manipulate the hit location as much as you can to get as much benefit as you possibly can. And speaking of manipulation, here's something I recommend. The spear specializations. I'm damn near gonna just be listing all of the specializations. Almost. They're all very valid. However, these are some of the most important ones that I recommend at different stages of, to kind of get. When attacking with the spear, if you draw a trap, roll a 1d10. On 7-up, cancel the trap, discard it, reshuffle the hit locations, and draw the location and draw a new card. Absolutely great, because this is definitely something that you might want a support character to have to be able to cancel the trap, because traps are awful. Traps ruin the flow of the game. You might be winning, trap goes, kills 2 people, now you're screwed. Now the really cool thing about this is when you're fighting level 3, you should be pretty far in the campaign, which means you should have access to the exhausted lantern horde if you've gotten there. With this, one of the weapons I highly recommend is the oxidized lantern glaive. 2 attacks, 5-up accuracy, 6 toughness, sharp and reach 2, barbed 4. On a perfect hit, gain +4 strength for the rest of the attack. That's really cool. It's going to give you a toughness of 10, which is absolutely vital to be able to attack it at a toughness 17. And it counts as a spear and an axe, so you have both the axe specialization and the spear specialization to use. Wild. And in terms of manipulation, the blue charm, fantastic idea. This is going to give you an opportunity to cancel the trap, and then this is going to give you another opportunity to cancel the trap. But now, at the point that you're fighting a level 3, especially when you have +2 luck, it's going to be really difficult to even hit the Phoenix. So another thing I highly recommend is the red charm. But the red charm essentially gives you a 50% chance to either miss or to hit. However, with the axe specialization, it's going to give you a higher chance. I'm not going to do the math right now, but if you fail, you get to roll again. And then finally, the last thing I recommend is the grand weapon specialization. When attacking with a grand weapon, gain +1 accuracy. If you critically wound the monster is knocked down. Wild. You're going to want to knock this guy down as much as possible. Give it that -3. You want that. Even though it's got Indomitable, it's going to be able to stand up. You don't care. Try to get in, knock it down, hit it as quickly as possible. Because the longer you wait, the more of an age tokens you're gonna get, and the worse it's gonna be. So whenever you can, hoard founding stones. Founding stones, I mean, obviously are gonna be absolutely fantastic, but the more you can debuff the Phoenix, the better of a time you're gonna get. 1, don't stand too close to each other. It has attacks that can affect everybody on one of its sides, sometimes completely around it, but that's why reach weapons are important, and don't stand too close to it. If one of you has to get hit, make sure it's only one of you. 2nd, keep your survival with you. Have as many weapons as you can to keep the survivals that you have as many innovations as you can to bring your survival level up as high as you can, and make sure you only use it when you absolutely need to. 3rd, end it quick. Don't stay there too long, take calculated risks, because this monster doesn't even need to attack you to be able to kill you. It can just look at you and you'll be dead. So go for it aggressively, but calculated. Hopefully they gave you some insights on the Phoenix. At the end of it, at the core game, this is absolutely the most difficult monster, and it makes sense because it's a node 3 monster. It can move around so quick, attack so many different angles, and just by looking at you, it can absolutely just kill you and erase you. But with that, happy hunting, and I'll see you guys in the next one.